Good evening. I'd like to call to order tonight's special board meeting of the ISD 191 Burnsville-Eagan-Savage School Board. The date is April 16th, 2020, and the time is 6:30. I'd like to first welcome those of you that are joining us. We're always pleased to know that even at a distance, people are paying attention to the work of the school board and of our staff. Next, I'd like to ask Director Schatz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start by approving tonight's agenda. I will take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Director Schatz. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Miller. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Jen Hallweger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt.
Aye. And the motion carries. Next, we're being asked to approve meeting minutes for a special workshop minutes on April 7th, 2020, and regular board meeting minutes for April 9th, 2020. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Chester, second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Hume. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Hallweger.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. Next, we will turn to the business portion of our meeting. We're being asked to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of teaching contracts of probationary certified personnel at the close of 2019-2020 school year. Our speaker tonight is Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Human Resources. Welcome, Stacy.
Good evening, Cheryl, Dr. Battle, members of the board. Every spring, we go through a process of either reductions of probationary staff, the elimination of FTEs over an assignment, as well as our long-term subs. And I always want to precede these with thanking these teachers and staff members for their commitment to our students this year and over the past few years, the dedication and the work that they have put into their efforts of instruction and every student's success here in the Burnsville-Eagan-Savage area. We believe strongly that we hire the best teachers in the area. And it is always sad to have to release teachers under the conditions that we're in. And Just want folks to know that everybody does appreciate their work and that this is not easy when we do have to do this. We are bringing forth a recommendation to release probationary staff. Probationary staff are those individuals who have not completed either their initial or their ongoing probationary period of 3 years or 1 year. So they don't have continuing contract rights yet. They're not tenured yet. And this year, 52 employees are impacted by a probationary reduction. My recommendation is that the Board of Education adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of Independent School District 191 pursuant to Minnesota Statutes 122A.40 that the teaching contracts of the following licensed probationary teachers in Independent School District 191 be terminated at the end of the 2019-2020 school year. Be it further resolved that written notice is sent to said teachers regarding termination and non-renewal of his or her contract as provided by law.
Thank you, Stacy. I will take a motion to approve
So
So
moved.
moved.
by Director Schatz.
Second.
Seconded by Director Courier. Any discussion or comments? I think Stacy said it best. We do hire the best, and this process is never easy. It's sad when we do have to let go. Teachers that we know are really incredible, caring people who do a great job ushering our students through school. So this is not easy. With that, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Hallwiger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. Staying with Stacy Sovine, we are being asked to adopt a resolution relating to the termination of teaching contracts for named long-term substitute teachers effective at the close of the 2019-2020 school year.
Again, this is a process that we do every year. These are individuals who step in for anywhere between 30 days to a semester up to a full year for teachers who may be on a general leave, maternity leave, parental leave, or a special assignment in which they are, the regular teacher is assigned and these folks are filling in. They do everything they can to not miss a beat for the regular classroom teacher while they are out. And again, it's an incredibly challenging role to step in for a short amount of time, build rapport with the students, pick up the lessons, and move the education forward. And again, their service is greatly appreciated as well. With that, it is the recommendation that the Board of Education adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of School District 191 that the teaching contracts of the following long-term substitute teachers be terminated at the close of the 2019-2020 school year. Be it further resolved that written notice is sent to said teachers regarding termination and non-renewal of his or her contract as provided by law.
Thank you, Stacy. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Hume. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Hallwiger. Discussion or questions? Hearing none. Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Hallwiger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. Again, we're being asked to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of that portion of teaching contracts in excess of 1.0 and/or beyond contractual rights at the conclusion of the 2019-2020 school year. Stacy.
Okay, again, this is a typical process in our spring. Every year we have different responsibilities that require an additional FTE for teachers to perform. It may be lunchroom duty throughout the school year to where the teacher is giving up their lunch so that they can help provide supervision. Or it may be in which they're traveling between buildings, and as a result of traveling between buildings, they are giving up a portion of their prep. So these are additional FTEs to reimburse that part of their contract in which they're entitled to, which they are not receiving. So we always reset the scale back to the FTE, whether it's a 1.0 or less, in which their base assignment is representing. So with that, it's the recommendation that the Board of Education adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of Independent School District 191 that the portion of teaching contracts of staff in excess of 1.0 and/or contractual rights be terminated at the close of the 2019-2020 school year. Be it further resolved that written notice is sent to said teachers regarding termination and non-renewal of his or her contract as provided by law.
I will take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Schatz, second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Miller. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Hallwiger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Next, we are being asked to adopt a resolution proposing to place teachers on unrequested leave of absence and placing teachers who have not requested a hearing on unrequested leave of absence. Starting with Stacy.
Okay. This recommendation is different from our first recommendation where we released probationary teachers. An unrequested leave of absence applies to teachers who have achieved tenure or continuing contract rights. So what this means is that every probationary teacher or less senior teacher in the department or grade level has already been released, and we still needed to release more teachers to reach our staffing needs. And that's when we dip into the tenured teacher, and that's when an unrequested leave of absence or a ULA is required. We will provide notice to these teachers that they have 14 days to appeal for a hearing. Hearing will be on May 6th at 10 a.m. at the district office. And if they want to, they can appeal that. We have a hearing officer. The hearing officer will hear their claim as to why they believe either one, they shouldn't be the one that is released, or they can challenge the facts as to why we need to make reductions in the first place, okay? If they do not request a hearing, the action that we will do tonight will by default take into effect, and we will notify these folks with a final letter that they have been released under a ULA. If they do appeal for a hearing, we'll have it in May. The hearing officer will have a number of days in which they will reflect upon the information that was provided and then provide a determination. And then at that point, we will have to take action either to reflect the hearing officer's decision. All of that has to be completed by June 30th, where the board takes final action on that as well, okay? That's part of the reason why we have this timeline. As you can see, the days will start getting away from us fairly quickly as we move forward. Again, as we have commented with the other teachers, these are folks that have been with us longer than 3 years. these are folks that have really made the commitment for the long haul with us. And it's very difficult as we move forward and have to take this action. That being said as well, a lot of things happen in the spring. We do get leaves of absences, people that decide that they're ready to retire, and we get resignations. All of those impact the actions that we're taking tonight. If any of those things occur to where any of these individuals be impacted, we will come back to you with another in our personnel report where these folks are reappointed to their positions. Okay. And with that, Director Alt, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Stacy. At this time, I would like to invite our clerk, Director Courier, to introduce the resolution.
Thank you. I introduce and move the following resolution for its adoption. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 191 as follows. 1, that it is proposed that the following teachers be placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits effective at the end of the 2019-2020 school year pursuant to Minnesota Statutes 122A.40 subdivision 10 and Article 13 of the collective bargaining agreement between the school district and the Burnsville Education Association. Mary Casserly Smith, 1.0 FTE. Ashley Graving, 1.0 FTE. Grace Cohn, 0.25 FTE. Krista Kramer, 0.33 FTE. Carrie Ann Loran, 1.0 FTE. Marnie McInnes, 1.0 FTE. Berenice Nava, 1.0 FTE. Donna Pfeiffer, 0.40 FTE. Stacy Rayner, 1.0 FTE. Jesse Richards, 1.0 FTE. 2, that written notice be sent to said teachers regarding the proposed placement on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits as provided by law in substantially the following form. Dear Mr. or Ms., you are hereby notified that at the April 16th, 2020 meeting of the School Board of Independent School District Number 191, consideration was given to your placement on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits as a teacher of Independent School District Number 191. And a resolution was adopted by a majority vote of the school board proposing your placement on unrequested leave of absence effective at the end of the 2019-2020 school year pursuant to Minnesota Statutes 122A.40 subdivision 10 and Article 13 of the Teachers Collective Bargaining Agreement between the school district and the Burnsville Education Association on the following grounds: discontinuance of position, lack of pupils, and financial limitations. You are entitled to a hearing provided that you make a request in writing within 14 days after receipt of this notice. If you request a hearing, it will be held before a hearing officer on May 6, 2020 at 10 a.m. at the school district offices located at 200 West Burnsville Parkway, Burnsville, Minnesota. If no hearing is requested within such period, it shall be deemed acquiescence by you to the school board's proposed action, and your placement on unrequested leave of absence shall be effective at the end of the 2019-2020 school year. Sincerely, School Board of Independent School District number 191, Dee Dee Courier, Clerk of the School Board. Number 4, that each and all of the foregoing grounds of said notice are within the grounds for unrequested leave of absence as set forth in Minnesota statutes 122A.40 subdivision adopted as fully as though separately set forth and resolved herein. Number 5, in the event any or all of the teachers identified herein do not make a request in writing for a hearing within 14 days of receipt of notice of proposed unrequested leave of absence, it is hereby resolved that those teachers be and hereby are placed on unrequested leave of absence effective at the end of the 2019-2020 school year. Be it further resolved that the teachers identified herein be personally served a notice of placement on unrequested leave of absence no later than June 30th, 2020. I return this to you, Chair Alt.
Thank you, Director Courier. So our clerk has moved the motion. I will take a second.
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 Seconded by Director Miller. Any discussion? I must comment that again, we do hire the best teachers, and these are very unfortunate circumstances. But this is what we must do in light of everything, in terms of particularly financing from the state. Hopefully folks will consider reaching out to legislators to help discuss the urgency for funding education. With that, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Hallwigger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Next order of business, we are being asked to approve the proposed revisions and readopt the unchanged language in the 2019 through 2021 collective bargaining agreement with the Burnsville Education Association. Stacy.
Thank you, Cheryl. We have reached a tentative agreement with the Burnsville Education Association representing the teachers of Burnsville. We began negotiating on April 25th, 2019, and reached a tentative agreement on March 16, 2020. The union voted on April 2nd, passing it. And some of the highlights for the agreement this year, we updated our fair share language as it is no longer valid. According to the Janus case decision by the U.S. Supreme Court, teachers or staff, any public employee that does not want to be a part of the union are not obligated to participate in fair share. So either they can be a part of the union or they don't have to be a part of the union. Fair share is a term that is used that there are certain portions, whether you feel like you're an active participant in the union, that is a reasonable amount for the services in which the union does on your behalf. And that was felt that was unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court. We had a 1% increase on the salary schedule in year one and a 1.3% increase in year two, with a total package that is $5.1 million, in MSBA percentage of 5.36%. Some of the language items that also was included was it's a small language item, but it will have a large impact for us, I believe, in our activities and our athletic programs. Is that the salary schedules that we have represented in the teacher's contract are only for teachers who are participating or leading these sports. We are not obligated to provide these salary amounts to non-licensed employees of the district or to members of our community who assist us with coaching. So what that will do is that will free up the athletic director, Guillaume, with his ability to look at a market rate for the district for these other positions and possibly be able to provide the same services at a lower cost. That's a pretty big thing in our current situation. It allows us to continue to provide those co-curricular experiences for students, and we're glad to move forward with that. I'll say back in the day, there was a license by the state of Minnesota for coaching, which was part of the reason why all of the activities was included under a teacher's contract. Since then, that has gone away. And over time, we now have just a little over 50% of our teachers actually leading activities or leading sports. So it didn't seem correct to obligate the district to pay salaries that wasn't going towards our own teachers. Other areas, just some cleanup as far as our overload positions. We already currently have this in our casual wage scale. Now it's a part of our contract. Aligning our long-term disability with the language and other contracts. We talked last week at our workshop how we were able to leverage our long-term disability insurance provider already to get, I think it's about a $28,000 savings. We are hoping as we align the language amongst all of the units, we'll be able to even leverage more savings from our providers going forward. Also had some clarification on sick leave language. ABE and ECFE for a number of years has been brought to the table from the union, wanting to place these positions onto the master salary schedule. And it's always been difficult because ECFE and ABE are either fee-based programs or programs that are provided a separate funding under 04 community ed that doesn't match what we receive in our general fund. So it'd be very hard to pay salaries to the same degree for these positions. These positions also don't have continuing contract rights per statute. And so there's just a number of things in which the state needs to clean up because they kind of created barriers within the teacher ranks. We were able to come to a compromise. While we didn't place the teachers on the master salary schedule, we were able to build in career increments that helped teachers, because we have a number of teachers who have been here 20 plus years, but are still being paid as if they were only here for 10 at a step 10. So we were able to at least acknowledge that service and build in salary schedule, our career increments on their salary schedule. So with that, my recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the proposed revisions and readopt the unchanged language in the 2019-2021 collective bargaining agreement with the Burnsville Education Association and Independent School District 191.
Thank you, Stacy. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Hume, second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Schatz. Discussion or comments? Okay, I do want to acknowledge the time and effort that everyone involved in this process invested in reaching a mutually agreeable solution and agreement. We appreciate the time of everyone that worked so hard to reach this agreement, and are really pleased that we have moved forward already to be able to work through these very challenging times in the advent of COVID. It's not easy, and everyone has already stepped up. So thanks for all your hard work, everyone. With that, Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Abigail Alt,
Aye.
Jen Holwiger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Let's see, with that, staying with Stacy, we are being asked to approve the proposed revisions and readopt the unchanged language in the 2019 through 2021 pro-pay memorandum of understanding with the Burnsville Education Association. Stacy.
Thank you, Director Alt. Every year we have to renew our MOU, our agreement with BEA, as it relates to what we call our ProPay program. It's QComp is the state term for this, and it is required as a part of our QComp funding that we do renew our MOU with them, our agreement each year. This year, the MOU had a couple of changes. Every year we always have to update the dates, but this year with the closing of buildings and the reduction of staff, we currently have 10 coaches. Part of this looking forward was reducing the number of coaches down to 8 would be sufficient to continue to provide the coaching and the development of our teachers and the observations. That reduction of the 2 coaches, one will come from the district that we pay through our compensatory funds, and the other one will come from the teachers and the pro-pay funds in which they receive. So there was a savings to the district and both to the teachers in that grant. The other item was to include a kind of a bucket of money of about $15,000 to help cover subs at the elementary level. Secondary, it is easier for the coach and the teacher or the observer and the teacher to meet during a non-duty time sometime within the day. At the elementary level, it is nearly impossible without carving out some support, someone else to cover the classroom while the classroom teacher is able to meet with that person. So what the coach does is they will get a sub for a building and they will meet with 3 or 4 teachers throughout the day all at the same time. And that sub will rotate to backfill that teacher while they're doing the meetings on the observation. Once that money is gone, and again, it's paid for through the grant, they'll have to figure something else out. So they'll manage their time very well with the resources that they have with that. With the closing of buildings, we had to reallocate our 82 BLT members. So we took the ones from the buildings that are closing and we moved those to the other buildings. These are stipend positions. It's a part of the career ladder under the ProPay plan. And we are not increasing or decreasing the amount of BLT, building leadership team leaders. We are just redistributing them with the closed buildings. So that language was also reflected. So with that, it's my recommendation that the Board of Education approve the proposed revisions and readopt the unchanged language in the 2020-2021 ProPay Memorandum of Understanding with the Burnsville Education Association.
Thank you, Stacy. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Courier, second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Holwiger. Discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none. I just have one clarification, Stacy, under the individual breakdowns for the financial remuneration, the building goal is really the only goal that ties directly to the students per the agreement in terms of learning.
Yes, I believe so. For some reason, I'm thinking there's a building goal, but I believe the CT goals are also more localized towards goals towards stretch goals for that collaborative team, in which is focused on students. Both the CT goal and the building goals, we have probably somewhere around 33 to 35% of payout in those areas. Personal learning plans, observations, and I'm missing one off the top of my head. I apologize. But the last one is close to 99, 98 to 100% as far as payouts.
And I appreciate, and I read in the, having re-reviewed the agreement itself, that the CT goal is an opportunity for that stretch goal for teachers, and to choose to include something directly related to learning. And I would look forward to seeing more of that, because as we said, we hire the best teachers, and I have no doubt that challenging themselves within the CT goal, beyond the building goal, to directly impact learning really makes the most sense, and is kind of in keeping with the spirit of where we are right now with ProPay. Ms. Kenny, will you please call the roll?
Jen Hallweger,
Aye.
Leslie Chester,
Aye.
Darcy Schatz,
Aye.
Dee Dee Courier,
Aye.
Scott Hume,
Aye.
Eric Miller,
Aye.
Abigail Alt.
Aye. And the motion carries. Thank you. With that, I will declare us adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and take care.